Okay, I'm not the last one. This has already kind of come up today, so I wanted to share what I've been already doing at UC Santa Cruz. When I was interviewing for my job as a field safety friend, people were already saying, like, you've got the physical safety stuff down, what about mental health? Because those are some situations that people have been experiencing for decades. And so what I basically came up with was a wilderness mental health first aid workshop. It's based on like a wilderness first responder where I train people to attend to a mental health situation, stabilize it, and then decide if you need to like evacuate a person or not. So it's very similar to that. I based this curriculum off of, there's only like 3 in the world that I have found that do something similar to this. And so this is based off of a curriculum from someone who in Canada. And so I just wanted to put all these statistics up there, like our undergraduate students, half of them around have some kind of mental health diagnosis. So it's probably pretty frequent that you're gonna find someone who's coming in with some kind of situation that may well be controlled or not. A lot of folks who have some kind of diagnosis are not seeking any counseling or treatment. And so if you can imagine bringing them into a field situation that can kind of exacerbate some of already these diagnoses and treatments. And so that's just to put the context out there for why we should be doing something around mental health, and it's great that we're gonna talk about this more at the retreat. And so one of my biggest goals for doing this workshop is to reduce the stigma around talking about mental health status and well-being. I'm also trying to get people to feel more confident in addressing situations that do come up in the field. And so we work through a lot of different kinds of skill building and activities for folks so they feel more confident in doing that. And also to point people to the appropriate resources on campus. It's already been mentioned, like we don't know what the resources are. And so I'm trying to really cheerlead that. So 988. I was the one who put that on the bingo card. 988 is the crisis and suicide prevention line, so that's one of the resources. I don't talk about sexual harassment and assault at this workshop, nor am I training people to be psychotherapists. It's really about that first aid aspect of it, where you're just trying to stabilize a situation and assess it, and then move on, whether or not you're going to evacuate or not. And so I'm coming from a point of view of trauma-informed care. This is kind of a buzzword in the mental health field where it's not so much that someone is reacting because there's something wrong with them, but that what has happened to them, what has been their cumulative experience. We've talked a lot about identities and where that intersects with mental health and well-being. So it's not so much like, what do we have to do to fix this person, but like, what context are they coming into a field situation? And so like, people are getting exposed to acute trauma in the field, like an injury or a fatality, basically looks the same as someone who's coming into the field and their chronic trauma is being triggered. And so it's gonna look the same, and then we're gonna treat it the same way. So basically the skills that I've been teaching people in this workshop can be used in either context. And so again, if you have a serious injury or fatality in the field, that's like a massive trauma exposure. And so when you have that stress response that happens with the autonomic nervous system, which I also teach people about, that's a normal reaction to an abnormal situation. But when people are coming in with past trauma that's been triggered, it's kind of like, it looks like an abnormal reaction to maybe a safe situation. And so that's where people get kind of confused of like, why is this person acting this way? And so I want to be able to teach people about this trauma-informed care so that it makes sense to them, like, oh, okay, I understand where this person's coming from. So that's my kind of perspective on that. And I just want to go through like some of the things I do. I know I'm out of time, but we go through different ways of really teaching folks to be able to pay attention to someone who's having kind of a mental health experience or incident, and building that kind of attention. Because I think that's where a lot of our fear comes from, is we just don't know what to do or what to say when that's happening. So I go through these kinds of exercises with folks in this workshop. I'm just going through some of this stuff. And so basically, this is a 4-hour workshop. Basically half the people from Santa Cruz have taken this workshop. here so you can talk to them about it as well. I'm trying, faculty are coming to these workshops, so our graduate students and staff people. It's been a very popular ask from me, so that's why I kind of did it. I would love to, 4 hours is not enough to actually go through a lot of this stuff, this is the feedback I'm getting. And people really want to go through specific scenarios, so that's just going to take more time. And so again, I have these very specific experience where I've been doing peer counseling for 20 years, and I've also had a ton of wilderness experience. So I realized that I might be uniquely qualified to lead these workshops, but I'd be very interested in spreading this content around and like sharing it with people, and just why I decided to do this lightning talk. So come talk to me if you also want to talk about mental health workshops. Thank you.